everyone, it's Jess, and we're going to be setting our day indoors today, talking about Big Brother Week 10 and Week 11. Now, I'm doing this a little different than I usually do. Typically, I do probably too much of like a beat by beat recap. But, it's the last 2 weeks of the season. We're already down to our final 3. Finale is tonight. Crazy, I know. And I was initially planning to do, my usual week 10 video, week 11 video, and then finale video once obviously the finale airs. But, one, I was a little busy. Crazy. Though I'm never busy in Big Brother time, the year I started doing this, I'm booked and busy. Crazy. Regardless. 2, I was like, screw it. Why not? Why don't we just do more chill version? So it's not going to be as super detailed, but it's going to be kind of yapping. Let's be real. Yapping about the past 2 weeks, and then yapping about our final 3. Their odds, what this finale could maybe even look like. I don't know. Going into finale, like what the hell could even happen? Because, girl, we got a lot of possibilities for what could happen tonight. It could be anything. So yeah, I don't even have my page of the notes this time, so we're just gonna be late. I don't expect the video to be extremely long. We'll see. Okay, but yeah, and get ready. Don't be shocked. I don't have my hundreds and hundreds of little screens of all of my little graphics. I tweaked it. We got one graphic. Look at that. That's pretty good. Graphic design, who? We got our final 3. Morgan, Vincent, Ashley up top. We have our jury down here of Ava, Keanu, Lauren, Kelly, Will, and Rachel. And the pre-jury folks all on the bottom. Who cares? No offense to the Big Brother 27 pre-jury. They're not very relevant here at this point in time. I'm so sorry. You're at finale just because you gotta be there. And because maybe one of you will win AFP. Shocker. Who's surprised? It probably won't be any of them. But anyways, we have our final 3 and our jury. Now, throwing it back, week 10, we still had 7 of people still in the house at that point. But we got our first and only double eviction, which is stupid. I get it. They want to do their blockbuster. They have to do this big showy comp to ravel and rile things up on a Thursday episode. Listen, I get it. Sure. But you're cutting our doubles. And I like the doubles. I like a crazy double. They don't always work in our favor, but they're usually interesting. That's like the fun of it. Watch these people cram through it. One double in this entire game, and it's week 10. Girl, we gotta pick that up a little. But tweak that for next year. Write that down. Get rid of the blockbuster. If you're gonna do it like 3 weeks, I guess. Do it light. And then we move on with our lives. And then we can have a double. Love a double. Oh my God. Especially when we had an extra house guest this year, with Rachel being our 17th house guest. We needed to get dropping with these people. We started September off at jury. Actually, not even at jury, because Mickey was the last pre-juror. And she went the same night Rachel went. That's crazy. But regardless, we had, our double eviction night, but leading up to that was Vince's HOH. And what a week that was. Pretty much, you could just TLDR that whole week with just Morgan versus Lauren. Will Lauren touch the block? Truly, that whole week. Just a battle. Just a battle of Morgan. Pestering, going at Vince over and over and over. You gotta put Lauren. You gotta put Lauren up. You gotta put Lauren up. You gotta put Lauren up. She's coming after me. And then Lauren being like, please don't put me up. Don't put me up. Don't put me up. And then Vince in the middle like, what do I do? Oh, they're gonna be mad at me, but you're gonna be mad at me, but she's gonna be mad at me. Oh my god. Girl, what are we doing? Like, he could have saved himself so much trouble if just weeks ago he had just put in any kind of work to bring Morgan and Lauren together. A la Chelsea with Cam and Mackenzie. Instead of having two number ones that are battling each other, you have a solid final three trio working together. That way, they will not hate each other and actively target each other and drag you in the middle of this. But Vince doesn't think. So he made his life harder and actually made things worse by talking in conversations with Morgan and Lauren separately, just trashing the other one. Like, oh, Morgan is this, da-da-da-da-da, Lauren, da-da-da. It's like, you're making your life so much harder in this game for no reason. Why make your allies enemies? Why make your number ones in the house enemies? It's not gonna do, clearly, didn't do him any favor. Severely pissed off Lauren. Because he did end up putting her on the block. And was like, and then Morgan's like, yeah, we'll put her on the block, but we're not gonna send her home. And I'm like, then what's the point? Because they were all so pressed and stressed and sweating. It's week 10 and Lauren hasn't touched the block. Chelsea didn't touch the block. She could win the game. First of all, Chelsea did touch the block, but these people don't know any Big Brother facts. No matter how many super fans can be in that house. Loud and wrong about Big Brother. But also, I promise you, nobody is winning the game solely because they weren't nominated. Like, no. Like Lauren, what were her two favorites? She took out who? Adrian? Will? She didn't have, her only resume move, I guess, would have been she didn't touch the block, which is not going to win anybody anything. So, I guess it's like, take that away from her, but it's not really, wasn't this big of a deal to be this much of a mess. But, this is Big Brother 27. And this season is truly just mess. And chaos and conflict. So they did all that. Days and hours of conversations until like 6, 7 in the morning. Like non-stop to get Lauren nominated. Lauren gets nominated. And they're like, well, we're not going to send her home. And they're like, could we send her home? And they just don't. Well, they don't even get a chance because when they do the blockbuster with Kelly versus Keanu versus Lauren wins. And honestly, good for her. Because this drove me nuts. So the blockbuster was, the one you have to go in the pit, dig around, get your colored ball, go up, run up the stairs. There's a tube at the bottom. You have to drop the ball from the height to land it in the tube. They've done this a number of times. Ooh, I whacked my mic. Apologies. Keanu even said when they were back in the house, oh, it was the the battle back comp they did in Big Brother 20, which it was. Because all of the it was the one Scotty won. but so but you would think they would have, having watched that, at least kind of get an idea of how you're supposed to do this. Or even if when you're actually playing it, when you keep messing it up, you're like, maybe I should try this. No. Why would we do that? That'd be common sense. And what did I say the season is? No common sense. Thank you. So Kelly and Keanu are just dropping those balls high up, like way too high, one-handed. They're bouncing everywhere. They're pinging off the things. They're not getting any in. Lauren, who is the actual big super fan of the season, knows the strat. 2 hands on the ball, leaning literally all as far over that railing as you can physically get, arms all the way outstretched. I look crazy. All the way outstretched, dropping the ball. And guess what? She crushed that comp. I think she got all 4 in. 4, was it 4 or 5? 4. I think it was 4. And then Kelly had 1. Keanu maybe had 1 or 2. I don't remember. And the other 2 did not adapt at all. Did not see how well it was working for Lauren and just kept dropping it. And I'm like, what are you doing? Damn. Because when you're doing it one-handed, they're like holding the railing with one arm and leaning over, so you're not getting the full like reach that you can get. Especially with, because they're all fairly tall people as well, so they would have a good reach, but no. So Lauren cleared that comp. We ended a tie vote for the eviction between Kelly and Keanu, a 2-2 vote. And Vince once again ruins things with Lauren by splitting the vote to get out Kelly. The thing he swore he wasn't going to do. I'm going to vote out Keanu. If it's a tie, I'll get Keanu. And the thing Lauren had said, if that vote ties and you cut Kelly, I'm done with you. And then he still did it. Vince just does things. Like, I don't know why he has to promise things and promise it. Oh, I'm going to do that. Like, I get it's Big Brother. You're supposed to lie on Big Brother. That's like, you can't. Honesty and integrity that's not Big Brother. I don't care. I will always be team no honesty, no integrity. Like, I don't care. I don't get off your high horse. This is Big Brother. This is reality TV. It's a game show. You're winning money. He just causes so many problems for like lying so unnecessarily. He had no reason. He'd just be like, listen, I don't know yet. I have to think. I don't know. Just say that. It's simple. Just to be like, I don't know yet. I am thinking about it. And then when they get upset when you cut them, you'd be like, listen, I was thinking about it and I decided this. And not. So that's one thing for them to be like, okay, you said you were thinking about it and you didn't do it, versus you promised me and swore to me that you were going to do this and then you didn't do it. Totally different. Totally different. But we'll never get to see the backlash of that, because this is double night. So the double immediately falls out. Morgan gets her HOH. Keanu wins the veto, and Lauren, bon voyage. And it's the first final 6. First non-blockbuster eviction of the season. This went way too long. Blockbuster went so long. This is far too long. It was even too long last season, BB26, and it always had the jury. It stopped once jury hit. This was too far. Just, if you're gonna do it, like I said before, just do it like the first couple weeks. It'd be better if you didn't do it at all. Listen, because this is the thing. Production wants a show, obviously. So, like, what's exciting? A competition on Thursdays. So if they compete for this, for safety, and then somebody gets taken off the block and and I'm like, that's great. I guess, in theory. Like, okay, yeah, it makes the evictions more exciting because, usually you're coming into an eviction, you kind of already know who's going home. Like, the vote, you're like, the votes get locked like Monday, Tuesday, and you're like, all right. Unless there's Waffle Wednesday. I get, like, okay, you want excitement on Thursday nights. You know what would provide some Thursday night excitement with a competition? Maybe, what if we just do the HOHs live, like we used to, like you always did. You don't need to add a Thursday night comp when you already have a Thursday night comp. Just do the HOHs live again. I promise you, people will be happy. I know you can't do them all live. Fine. Most of them. Even the endurance comps used to start live on the episode. Like, that was the fun of it. Sitting there, sweating, watching them do the booth comp live. Like, bring it back. I mean, obviously, I can't lie and say we haven't had good moments from, like, the AI Arena / BB Blockbuster being active. Because it gave some moments. So, it ate sometimes. But it's done more damage than good, you know? Like, look at this jury. This alone should tell you how much damage it's done. Kelly and Keanu would have been gone like the first 2 weeks had we not had Blockbuster. They would have been gone. Especially Kelly. Definitely Kelly, at least. Keanu is pretty good at vetoes, so he maybe could have lasted a little longer. Kelly, absolutely. She only won Blockbuster, so she could have been... She probably would have been there over, like Adrian or Amy. And that would have changed the whole dynamic of the game. Who knows how that would have turned out. Oh, this jury. That's pretty good. But now we have Keanu and Kelly and jury, and that stresses me out. That gives me hives. But that's a later conversation. But yeah. Back to what I was saying. Morgan wins the double HOH. She nominates Lauren and Keanu. Who's shocked? They do the veto. Booth comp. You know, it's classic booth comp. The tiebreaker. This tiebreaker between Morgan and Keanu. Open the schools. Get these kids a calculator. Because the math was crazy. The tiebreaker question for this veto competition, mind you, was in seconds. TLDR, because it was a whole... Pretty much, how long was the wall comp in seconds? Julie barely finishes reading the question before Keanu is writing down 1800. And I'm like, damn, let her finish. What the hell? What number is this? And when I did the math on my phone back quick, and I was like, okay, it was giving me 4800. And I'm like, okay. Keanu's mad low. Surely Morgan can do some math. 120 is what she puts. 120, which is about 2 minutes. When I tell you, when I watched her turn her board around and it said 120, I said, surely not. I'm like, surely she can't think that's correct. I'm like, maybe she thought Julie said minutes and not seconds. Because the wall comp was like an hour and a half. I mean, after they don't know how long it ran, but we know. So, who's shocked? Keanu wins. Keanu, like, fully leaps over the booth. It's funny, because they all turn to, like, look at him. But he's on the other side already, because he jumped up and over the booth. I'm like, oh, okay. Good for you. I believe Morgan just said she wasn't good. She just did the math somehow really wrong. But I was like, girl. And then Keanu put his arm down because he thought the wall comp was a half an hour. And he was like, no, wait. He's like, it was that long? He's like, it was 2 hours? That's crazy. To be fair for him, you know, the past few seasons, the wall has only been a half an hour and 40 minutes. So it's fair to assume it probably was a half hour again. But we didn't even get the first drop till a half hour. Funny how when things are actually, good on the wall, you can actually hold the wall. It actually lasts longer than 5 seconds. But yeah, so once Kiana came down, Morgan put up Ava. It was Ava versus Lauren. Who's shocked? Lauren went home. I'm not shocked. So at this point, our final 5 going into week 11 was Morgan, Vince, Ashley, Ava, and Keanu. Now, this week, get ready for a takeover. Because the Mastermind's month of mayhem still going. And he's taking over this week. He's like, you thought you'd have to wait till Thursday to see Julie? Guess what? I'm running a week. He's like, I'm doing my own little week in here. So somebody's gonna go home this week. Early. He's like, whenever I hear a bell, we're moving through. Whenever this bell goes off, okay, it's HH competition time. Okay, another bell, okay, it's nominations. Okay, veto. Okay, veto meeting and get the hell out. Which is fun. I think it'd be really funny if they just, woke them up. They're all dead asleep in bed, and they're just like, it's time for the HOH comp. It's time for veto. Wake up. So, they do the HOH for this Mastermind Takeover week. And it is the sword comp. They keep calling this throughout the week the pressure cooker. This is not the pressure cooker. What are we doing? It's one thing if they were calling it the pressure cooker and pressure cooker had not been done since season, 6 when it was done. They did the pressure cooker 2 years ago. You should know what the pressure cooker is. It's the buttons. The button. You stand there, hold a button. The sword comp is not the pressure cooker, and I will not stand for this. Unbelievable, these people. This is an endurance comp. This is not the pressure. Get out of here. But it's the sword comp they did last year during Janky World that Leah won. They've done this before as well. I believe they did it BB19 as well. They might have done it in between, but I just remember those two specifically. OTT. They did an OTT as well. Now, we got to see his endurance comp this year because last year they didn't show it to us during Janky World week because this was still, we didn't know what Janky World was going to happen. Man, those fees came back after all that time down. They were outside. We were like, what? Why are they outside? What's happening? So they didn't let us see the endurance comp last year of this, the sword comp. That went 10 full hours. Which I'm still mad about to this day. But it's fine. But they're like, guys, this year, we're going to let you watch it. And it's going to be, apparently they were gassing it up to the audience and the students are like, this is going to go all night. It's going to be great. An hour. Lasted an hour. Because they made, at first people thought it was based off the conversations in the house. We thought it was the swords that were heavy. But it was actually the plates they had to hold up that were the Mastermind's face that were apparently very heavy. So much so that Ashley and Ava could barely get them into place and to get the comp set up. So they both barely made like a half an hour. I think Ava made 11 minutes. I don't remember. I don't know. They didn't last very long, pretty much. That last half hour was just Vince and Keanu. And Keanu, overly confident. One hand leaning, he's talking to Vince. Like, so what are you doing? What's like talking about life. Not even the game, just life. Just vibing. And Vince is locked in. Keanu, vibing. Yapping, switching hands, doing this, leaning this way, da-da-da. He's like, I could go all night. I could be out here for hours. Mind you, I forget to mention, they are in the Mastermind's, what do you call it? The Sanctum? I don't even remember what the fuck you call it. The little Mastermind room. That used to be the have-not room, but they've now made a little layer, which I think was cute. Keanu, yapping, moving, loses. Drops the thing. Another Vince HOH. I'm like, great. This is now pretty much 2 weeks back to back of a Vince HOH. Great for the G-Man. Which, by the way, they have been putting these two on blast in this edit. The zings, ridiculous. Also, kind of crazy that Morgan gets the zing on the relationship, but not the man in a relationship. He just gets to be called a loser, which, fair. But, I'm like, dude. Classic production. Whatever. So, Vince is the HOH again. And this week, it's a couple days. I believe the eviction happened Monday. Yes, it was Monday. Keanu is kind of crashing out that Vince is nominating him. He is not taking it well. He is finally realizing, maybe Rachel was right. Maybe I shouldn't have trusted Vince. Who would have thought? And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're realizing this now. Now you're realizing this? Now when Rachel was beating it over your head with like a rock. Like, he doesn't want to work with you. He doesn't trust you. You're not a priority. You're not his number one. Move on. No, because why would we listen to Rachel? That would be too easy. And now karma is coming for him. And he's like, all I gotta do, I guess, is just win this veto and save myself. But, unfortunately for Keanu, Morgan has awoken. And it was tiny veto. Which I don't think Keanu would have won anyways. Well, actually. It would depend, actually, because he is a DM. I don't know if he makes his own minis for his campaigns. I don't know if they use minis for his campaigns or not. But, minis are little. And people who paint the minis, oh my god. I don't even know how you do. So, I'm realizing I'm saying this. If you don't know, Keanu, dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons campaigns. Sometimes, not every time it's not required, some people will get these. They're called minis. They're like little characters. There's actually a number of websites you can make your own, and they will send them to you. Some people make them like themselves, like by hand. They're like little characters that you could put on people don't really have boards, but you can use it to, kind of set the scene, to see what you're doing, typically for fights as well. But people will also have, minis for like monsters and enemies and things like that. They're literally like this big. So people who, make them and paint them often have to wear, those big, what are they called? Not magnifying glasses. I was going to say microscopes. They're like super magnifying glasses. They have like a magnifying glass here. They have like little tiny brush. You just kind of like teeny tiny little painting. So I think maybe I don't see him doing that. But maybe if he had, he'd be used to doing something on a very small scale with a very precise hand. Maybe that would have helped him with the tiny veto. But alas, he did not seem to have those skills. Also, you think Ava would have did a little better, being an artist, having to have a precise hand there. But no, Morgan wins. Morgad claims another victory. Also, gaming, you gotta have a good, precise hand as well. I guess depending on what you're playing. Well, she does, shooters, so she probably has a pretty good, hand there. I don't know. I don't play shooting games, so I don't know. But yeah, Keanu did not win. Sorry for him. So Keanu was finally realizing, I'm in trouble. So, who's shocked? Keanu's, I believe, second time. I was about to say his first time. I forgot he just sat next to Kelly. His second time, actually sitting on the block on Thursday. Not Thursday, actually. Oh my god. This fucking thing. I forget. It's Mastermind Mayhem. So it wasn't Thursday, it was Monday. And, that's another thing I forgot to mention. For the nomination ceremony, instead of, they don't have the memory wall or the key box. Oh my god. Please. The key box. I'm a mess. I'm sorry. I didn't get much sleep. I was at a Joe concert last night. So I'm like a little worn. But yes, the key box. Instead of that, they had voodoo dolls, which I think was kind of fun. Now, Big Brother has kind of lost the plot this season with the theme. We started off as a murder mystery hotel. Now we have voodoo dolls. Sure. Whatever. At least it's kind of a murder theme. So they'll have a little voodoo doll. So when you pick, for nominations, he just kind of put the voodoo. He's like, this is the voodoo dolls. Veto meeting is it's pretty much combined with the eviction. Surprise to them. So Morgan doesn't use veto. Who's shocked? So it's still Ava and Keanu on the block. For the eviction, they're like, see the voodoo doll sitting there? Ashley, Morgan, and Vince have big ass sewing needles. I can't. Pins. Big pins. So instead of, going to a diary room to vote, it's all public. They're like, there's fucking 2 of you. Just vote. Who cares? You're gonna figure it out. So they have to raise their pin. They still make them say, I vote to evict. And then just, stab them. And, just let them stab it. Be like, I'm voting Keanu. You don't need to make them do I choose to evict. Just let them stab it. We're already camp as it is. Just let it happen. So they both, who's shocked, stab Keanu. And the casuals princess has fallen. So sorry to all the casuals out there who loved Keanu. Because the edit really liked him. For some reason. But he's gone. Oh my gosh. With the seas. With the wind. He leaves. Out the door. Like, goodbye. Literally the mastermind's like, alright, and get out. Fuck off. They're like, bye. So now that our final 4 is down to Ava, Ashley, Vince, and Morgan, they do the HOH between the 3 girls. And you could tell production was really hoping Keanu was making it. Because it's the dice comp he's been practicing all summer. And who is shocked when Morgan wins this? Because it's very physical. And watching the episode... Oh my god, my bangs. Please. Please. Oh my god, whatever. Watching the episode. Morgan's flying through this. Ava and Ashley can barely move the thing. I guess Morgan's athletic. She doesn't give a fuck. She's diving into that thing. She's throwing it, rolling it. And Ashley and Ava are like, how do you fucking move this thing? And they finally realize, oh, we have to jump and dive. But literally, Morgan clears these people. They had to win 3 rounds to be HOH. It was done in 3. Morgan got all the points. I'm like, oh my god. What are we doing? What are we doing? But obviously, Morgan wins the HOH, guaranteed a spot in the final 3. Now, this week was interesting. When I tell you, obviously, always final 4 comes down. 8 nominations don't really matter. The most important thing is the veto. Because the person who's not on the block after the veto is the sole deciding vote. Nothing matters more than that veto. Now the odds were split here. If Morgan or Vince won, they were not going to use the veto. And either Ashley or Ava would go. But if either Ashley or Ava won the veto, they would come down. Vince would be forced to go up on Morgan's HOH. And both Ava and Ashley were determined to get Vince out. Ashley mainly originally had been wanting to get Morgan out, but obviously she won the HOH, can't get her out. Now, let me tell you something. This edit has been driving me nuts. They have not shown any of the work Ashley has. Pretty much none of the work Ashley has been doing this season socially. They, I don't. I need to Big Brother to remember that this whole show is a social, the keyword, strategy game. This is not the challenge. I get comp wins are important, but you don't need them. You can do things without having the comp wins to do it. And Ashley is the key example of that. She's only won, at this point, in Final Four, one veto. The first veto. But she put in so much work to get here. She almost went home week 1. If she didn't win that veto, she was the first boot, pretty practically. Unless she had won the blockbuster. But she just by the time they got even to this point, she was like one of the most insulated people in the house. Like, she was crushing it. And the edit showed none of it. But they actually gave her something where she was like, I want to cut Morgan, but I can't. So we have to at least cut Vince to split them two up, because they're going to take each other to the final 2. And whoever's left between me and Ava, we're cooked. We're screwed. And this was the day's comp. And it's crazy. They made both the veto and the HOH physical. I mean, that veto was not as physical as the HOH was. It was still pretty physical. It was the day's comp, and they did it as like a sliding puzzle. So it was, all the pictures were in tiles, and they had little slots to slide them up to do. Now, I think Ava, I don't know if Ava was gonna win. I don't know if Ava's, I knew the other 3 had been studying days. I don't think Ava was. She might have been. But let me know if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But the top 3 definitely were. Definitely were doing the days. But this woman is untouchable. She's unstoppable. More God, another veto. And Ava and Ashley are like, well, so much for that. And at that point, it was pretty much known Ava was gonna go. She didn't, don't get me wrong, Ava did try. She did try to pitch herself. How good was it? She even called like a house meeting, which a house meeting at Final Four is just so ridiculous. It wasn't really much. She did try to throw Vince under the bus to Morgan. Tried to get her to use the veto. Didn't really work. There was a little bit of a tussle there, but ultimately, Morgan doesn't use it. Vince is the sole vote to evict and evicts Ava, who's shocked. Ava's interview, by the way, her exit interview. Girl. Listen, at this point, it's known that Ava has been kind of trying to really push for AFP over winning the game. So I'm not shocked that she was kind of trying to do like bits. And I'm like, it's not landing. I'm sorry, girl. So we end with our final 3. Morgan, Vince, and Ashley. Now, we also had an unlocked after the end of week 10, right before week 11. It was the last unlocked of the series. They pissed me off in that episode, actually. I do have something to say about that. I was like, I was going to say, don't have much to say about unlocked. do have something to say. So they had Brittany Hayes, love of my life, my diva, my queen, hosting the BBs, like a little award show. They had an award. Worst move of the season. And they had nominees. Who picked these? Not me. Like, one of them was, Zach losing his power. Zay getting into a fight with Rachel. Okay, week 1. Okay. The audacity. The nerve of these people to put Rachel losing the hamster wheel puzzle as a nominee for worst moment. For worst move. I'm sorry. That wasn't a worst move from Rachel. That's you people. That was crazy. I saw that and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Because that wasn't a Rachel move because she couldn't figure out a puzzle and went home. That's on you people. You set the puzzle wheel up, not her. You planned the twist. You set this stupid shit into motion. So why is she getting nominated for worst move? You're lucky she didn't win and it went to Zach, as it should have been because he's an idiot for not using his power and staying in the house. Excuse me. Putting that on Rachel is just so mind-boggling to me. I was like, what? You did that. She didn't do that, you did. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? I don't know. Also, James Gunn was there, by the way. And they had sing about roasting them. Wild. Wild unlocked. But it was the last unlocked. Whatever. And now also, during Unlocked and then our season recap that they always do, the clip show, we finally got jury segments. On Unlocked, it was just, Rachel and then Will coming in. And Rachel was like a little annoyed with Lauren. She's like, Lauren, why would she put it? Getting Will out. She's like, unbelievable. But, we get the jury segments of, Kelly coming in, being like, I'm going to be so annoying. And Rachel being like, Jesus Christ. Rachel's arm, she was like, oh my God. And then Lauren coming in right behind her because it was a double. Then we get Keanu coming in. Obviously, Ava didn't come in because Ava doesn't go to the jury house, if you don't know. Final four. Not the fourth. What is she? The fourth place finisher. Fourth place. Doesn't go to the jury house. They go straight to the jury roundtable, and then they all go to their hotels for sequester until finale. So Keanu is actually the last person to go to jury house. They edit this jury segment interesting. Because at this point we do have a final three. I'm sure they probably asked about Ava as well, but they're just not gonna, because they're not gonna tell them who was sent home. I don't think, actually, they wouldn't even know at that point, because Ava didn't go home till Thursday and Keanu left on Monday. But regardless, the edit for this, a lot of Morgan, a lot of Vince, almost pretty much nothing on Ashley. Nobody's thoughts on Ashley's game. Do they think Ashley's gonna win? None of that. And do you know what's crazy to me? Do you know? Spoilers now. Now we're gonna get into the final, some feed stuff, real quick. So, might want to dip. At this point in time, looking at our final three here, Ashley is like the second most likely person to win the game now, and they didn't put anything from that jury segment on her. Honest to God, am kind of hoping Ashley wins just so production feels stupid for how badly they have edited her game this season. They just make her look like an idiot on, like she's some schmucko. Look like she's not a very intelligent woman. Even in the recap, they were like, here's an Ashley's dumb segment. I'm like, girl, what are we doing? They have severely under-edited her because they have stopped caring about the social game at this point. They are only focused on Morgan or Vince. Drama with them aside, because they have been on a bit of a comp run. And Ashley has not won many comps. She won one. This is not the challenge. I'm going to say this every time. This isn't the challenge. I don't care about comp wins. You could win. Like, Vince has won 4 HOHs. And what has he done with those HOHs? It's not how many comps you win, it's what you do with the power that you get from the comps. And if you win, like Lauren, 2 HOHs, and she sent home Will and Adrian. You didn't do shit. It's about who you get out, the structures that you build with the power that you have, the information you can get during your HOH reign, or your veto win. Like, it's all about how you use it, but Big Brother and the houseguests are seemingly just not giving a shit. They just get like, okay, Morgan won this many comps, and Vince won this many comps. Good game. And I'm like, this isn't the challenge. What are we doing? If I'm a house guest and I'm a juror, I couldn't give a rat's ass how many comps you won. I'm like, what did you do with it? Tell me what you did with the comps that you won. What did you do with that power? How did that get you further in the game? And not just because you get safety from them. How did it actually improve your gameplay? So the fact that they have not been showing any of Ashley's game, which has been very social, very strategic, incredibly, like, manipulative of, like, okay, we're just gonna fully get into, like, the feed stuff now. So if you're here for just week 10 and 11, you don't want to know anything, it's not gonna be any of the pre-finale stuff, like the final HOH part 1 or part 2, time to go. Because that's what I'm getting into right now. Ashley has put in so much work with Morgan over, like, the past, like, couple of weeks. Hell, even past couple of weeks. Beyond that. As of literally last night, Morgan is most likely going to cut Vince at Final 2 to take Ashley. Because Ashley has convinced her that Morgan will lose to Vince if they sit in the final 2 chairs together. Mind you, Morgan versus Vince, Morgan runs the bus over that man. There's no way he's winning next turn. No chance in hell. But Ashley has put in so much work to, like, gas up Vince's game. Talk about how the jury, how he has, like, the votes could go either way. Like, even Morgan to Vince is repeating the stuff Ashley has told her, like, practically word for word. Oh, it's a 50-50. It's a 50-50 toss-up between us. There's no locked votes. Da-da-da. And Vince has been begging with her. But literally, last night on the feed still, pleading and begging with her. You have to take me. Well, he's been kind of annoying with it. He's like, I deserve Final 2, because Vince also refuses to see any, or reviews or acknowledge any of Ashley's game at all, for some reason. He thinks she doesn't deserve to be there, which is so stupid. But regardless of that, he has been, like, pleading with her, like, please, you destroy me in this vote. He's like, Ava's not gonna vote for me, Keanu's not gonna vote for me, Lauren's not gonna vote for me, Rachel's not gonna vote for me, none of these people are gonna vote for me. And because of Ashley, because of all the work she has put in, Morgan's like, no, you don't know that, Vince. Literally was like, so how do you know that? Have you gone to the diary room and have you spoken to the jury personally? No, so you don't know. You don't know that, Vince. You don't know. There's no locked votes. You don't know. And that's all Ashley. Ashley, even, like, back when Vince was winning other HOHs, she started putting in the work, planting the seeds. And clearly it's working. So the fact that Big Brother has shown none of it in the game, in the edit, none of it even at all with the jury segments, it's crazy. Ashley, because to go throw it back a little bit, part 1 of the final HOH was done, and part 2 as well. Morgan, the endurance portion, part 1 is always endurance. Morgan won that. Shocker. Part 2, Vince versus Ashley. Apparently Vince had a very, very big lead on Ashley, but they both messed up the instructions of the comp. And Ashley was able to figure it out and quickly recover. Vince did not. Vince apparently majorly crashed out during the competition. Had a whole tantrum practically in front of the host, Frankie Grande. What Imagine that. Imagine being a grown-ass man, you're crashing out the freaking ground. This show is so unreal. But yeah. So Ashley won part 2. So part 3 tonight is going to be a battle between Morgan and Ashley. If Ashley wins this, she is cutting Morgan and taking Vince. And honestly, she's been rehearsing her speech on feeds when they were still up. Her speech is pretty good. Her speech is really good, actually. And I think she has a pretty solid chance to beat Vince. Because Vince, I haven't really heard him rehearsing his speech. I don't even know if he has been. I don't know. But Vince, this whole game, hasn't really, Vince, he's doing his I'm just a little guy, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser, da 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 da, his whole routine. His shtick. I don't know what the hell his speech was going to be. He would have to own up to a lot. Especially with this jury, who is pretty much like convinced, you could tell, that Morgan has been running his HOHs for a long time. So he would have to put in kind of a lot of work with the questions and the speech to prove, like, no, she didn't run it, I controlled her, that, like, pretty much spin the narrative back onto him having control of his own, wins and powers and things like that. Will he do that? I don't know. And even if he does, will the jury buy it? I don't know. So it's definitely a bit of a toss-up between those two. But Ashley's speech is... Plus she has the lawyer reveal, which usually nobody gives a shit. Like, the job reveal is like, okay. But hers is actually relevant to her strategy of playing dumb, diminishing her threat level. People being like, it's Ashley, she don't know nothing. Even Vince, who has been like, Ashley doesn't deserve to be here. Ashley doesn't know anything about this game. Ashley's this and Ashley's that. She's an idiot, da da da. Her speech sounded good from what this actually the bit of her I've heard on her rehearsing it on feeds. Talking about, she played herself down. She made herself deliberately not be a threat by letting people think that she has no idea what's happening in the house and how this game works, and that she's an idiot, and that she's not as smart as people realize she is. She's a lawyer. She went to Georgetown. She's incredibly, incredibly smart. And she has a good point as well of how well insulated she was. She went from, almost went home week 1 to by like final 7, final 6, she was like the most insulated person in the house. No threat at all, no danger of going home. She has a very, very strong case. And she can articulate herself well. She's a lawyer. Talking, kind of the whole thing. I think she could run circles around this man in the question section. And none of that was in the edit at all. And honestly, that's kind of why I'm hoping Ashley wins. So production can take a seat, sit down, reflect, and say, when did we lose the plot of our show? When did we forget that this is a social strategy game and we have not been showing the social strategy of it all? We have made this far too comp heavy to the point where we under-edited our now winner. Because they should have been editing how strong Ashley's game has been, the work she's put in. They didn't show when it was her versus Will on the block almost any of the work she put in to convince everybody that Will had to go home. Will, who everybody loved, she put in that work to show why she should stay over him. Oh, everybody would go out over me. No, I'm there. Will is so lovable. If you sit next to him in final 2, you're definitely gonna lose. Like, she put in so much work this whole season, and they just haven't shown any of it. So if she wins part 3 and cuts Morgan for Vince, that's cutting Morgan. Huge move. Listen, and don't get me wrong, I would also love for Morgan to win. I love Morgan. We love Adam. She has been crushing this game. I can't sit here and say she's not a strong player. It's just personal. It would be so gaggy. Can you imagine? It's finale. All the jurors are on the stage. Julie Chen is sitting there, and she's like, Okay, we are about to bring out the final juror. Everybody, your guesses. I'm sure most of them are going to assume that Morgan won one part, Vince won part, because Ashley doesn't win comps. So they're going to assume it's Morgan versus Vince. Probably Morgan's going to win, and they're going to take each other. So they're like, oh yeah, it's definitely going to be Ashley. It's going to be Ashley. Probably going to be... Or they'll think maybe it's Vince, because Morgan cut Vince, maybe. The reactions that would be... Oh my god, it'd be so good. When the whole jury's sitting there, and Morgan walks out to join them on the jury. They would be gagged. It would be so... They'd be like... what? And especially when Julie would then have to say, just to fill you all in, Ashley won the third part and became the final HOH and evicted Morgan over Vince. That would eat. Oh my god. It would be so good. Oh, this is just like for me. It would just be so gaggy. I can't. It would be so good. It would be so, so good. But like on the flip side as well, Morgan would still be a good winner. I'm not gonna say she's Morgan. I am a little worried though with Morgan because she's also been rehearsing her speech on the feeds. And it's not that good. It's not that good. And that makes me nervous. Because I'm nervous because I don't know. I don't know how these questions are gonna go. I don't know how the speech is gonna go for her. She has to own up to everything. She has to own up to I took over Vince's HOHs. You don't want to Paul, who they didn't own up to anything on 19 and lost to Josh, who, had the goodbye messages that he put the work into, but owned up to all of his moves. Paul, they did not, and then they lost again. I do still think she wins over Ashley, but it may be closer than people may expect. I think she clears Vince. That's not a problem. She absolutely rinses Vince, for sure, in my head. I do still think she beats Ashley, but I think it'll be a little bit closer than the Vince vote. And even if Ashley's speech is really good, possibly, maybe Ashley could even maybe beat Morgan. I don't know. It really is up what the jury is feeling, and I have no idea. Like, Corey said this on Chat BCC. He's like, you can't take this jury segment with a grain of salt. He's like, at this point, on 25 for the jury segment, they made me look like I was pro Matt all the way. And he did not vote for Matt in the end. So you never know. We don't really know what the jury is fully thinking. Honestly, this is just so crazy that we are going into the finale, and this is the first time in like a while that I have no idea what the hell could happen tonight. Any of these three people could win. Vince is probably the least likely to win, but he has a better chance, obviously, against Ashley. He loses hardcore to Morgan. He has a bit of a better chance with Ashley. But, oh my god. This is just so exciting. The past few seasons, it's been kind of like, we know. Most of the time, we were like, we know what's going to happen. This person's going to get... Like, Chelsea was like... I knew, weeks ago, I'm like, Chelsea's going to win this. BB23, I'm like, Xavier is good. Like, once Xavier got once Tiffany and Hannah were out in BB23, and it was just Kyla and Xavier, Azza, and Big D, I was like, oh, okay, so this is Xavier's game to lose. And he did not, because he was smart and took out Kyland, his bigger threat, against Azza and David, Jesus Christ, I keep calling him Big D. I don't know why I'm saying David. I'm trying to say, I'm thinking Derek, and I'm saying David instead. My bad. And then Chelsea, I was like, Chelsea wins. Once we hear, I was like, even before Joy, I'm like, Chelsea's winning this. They need to get Chelsea out if anybody else wants to win. I always try to view the game when I'm watching, like, the feeds and stuff, through the mind of, like, this person is the front runner. So, like, 26, I spent a lot of the game, like, how can they get Chelsea out? Because Chelsea to everybody, is clearly the front runner for this game. So what can they do to get Chelsea out? Because, listen, she was a very dominant winner. This finale is such a toss-up, I literally don't know. It truly is going to come down to that final 3 HOH. That part 3 HOH. Because if Morgan wins and cuts Vince for Ashley, she probably wins over Ashley, but we don't know. If she goes back and does take Vince after his multiple whining and crying and meltdowns in this past day, she clears him. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. If it's Ashley versus Morgan, that is going to be wild. They're both gonna have their job reveals. It's going to be so fun. I kind of want Ashley to go first, because she's going to do her, like, I'm a lawyer, and then Morgan has to be like, I'm a Twitch streamer. Actually, guys, I'm a Twitch streamer. I know she said she's a lawyer. I'm also something. I'm a Twitch streamer. I'm sure will not know what Twitch is. Rachel, I think she might. But it'd be funny. And then Ashley, I do kind of want Ashley to win. Can you imagine? This is literally BB17 again. 10 years later, we could witness somebody, another Steve, Vanessaing somebody. Oh my god. That would be insane. That would be so crazy. It would be so crazy. It would be even crazier because the odds were even, like, more, like, because Ashley's not a comp beast. Ashley won one single veto week 1, and the jury doesn't know she won part 2. So they're thinking, okay, there's a duo. Obviously, the duo are going to take each other. Ashley's probably cooked. Oh my god, it'd be so crazy. I'm just so excited for that. Oh my god. Regardless of what happens tonight, something crazy, something insane is going to go down. And it's going to be so, so good. And I'm really excited for this. So yeah, my odds on going in, most likely, I think Morgan will probably end up winning. I feel like she, just based on her comp run, may win part 3. This is, like, personal. I think it would just be more entertaining to see Ashley win. By winning part 3 and taking out Morgan, it would just be, like, the drama of it all would be so good. But then there's a chance that Vince wins. I am nervous, because, like, what if Ashley cuts Morgan for Vince and then still loses? But then she would have the resume move of cutting Morgan. Because Vince was not, I don't know if Vince would have cut Morgan. Well, he was going to cut her for Lauren. So also, that's why I don't feel bad for him, because he was going to cut Morgan for Lauren, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I really don't see Vince winning. Because, I mean, he's definitely hardcore loses to Morgan. Vince versus Ashley is, like I said, more of a toss-up, but I think she can beat him with the questions and the jury speech, the final speech. I don't know what speech he has prepared. I haven't heard him rehearsing it, which is not good. Which is not good. And he was trying to, like, Morgan was asking him, like, what's your speech? And he was like, I had a good time, but it was, like, not good. I was like, I hope that's really not I hope you're lying to her and that's not your actual speech, because you're gonna lose. That's really bad. But, it's just gonna be so good. I really think at the end of the night, at the end of this finale, we're gonna have either Morgan or Ashley win. And honestly, either way, very solid winner. We have the more comp-heavy winner and then the socially strategic winner. Though obviously Morgan has put in social work as well. But Ashley, I don't know. This is going to be so good. It's just going to be crazy. And plus we have AFP, which is probably going to be Keanu, or Rachel. That's between those two. Obviously. I mean, people have been putting, I've been putting a lot of votes. Listen, I put, hundreds of votes on Rachel, so she better win this shit. she might win. But the casuals are obsessed with Keanu. So it's probably going to be between them two. And then I think third will probably be, Will. Because people love Will. Maybe Ava, but Ava has lost the feedsters and the online folks, so probably not. It'll probably be Keanu, Rachel, Will, with either Rachel or Keanu winning that AFP. But yeah, we are in for a showdown tonight, and I am really excited. It's just going to be so good. It's going to be so, so good, regardless I do. I don't know. I don't even know who I want to win. I know it's gonna be between Morgan or Ashley. I don't even know what I would want for the final two. It's like I really want like the Morgan Ashley, like I'm a lawyer, I'm a Twitch streamer reveal, but I also want the gagginess of Morgan walking out to be the last juror, and the shock that they're gonna see on those faces. Jaws are gonna drop because they're gonna be shocked especially when they find out Ashley won 2 comps. That'd be so good, and they're like, Ashley's not gonna win shit. Da 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 da. It'd be so good. And then I want to, but I also want to see like listen, it's like I'm afraid of Vince being in the church because he couldn't win maybe, but I want to. I wish we could just get all 3 of them. I want to hear all of their speeches and all of the questions. I just want to hear them all so badly. Because I don't know how well Vince is going to do with the questions. Because he does not own up to his shit. And he's very, like, he diminishes his own game hard. He, diminishes, he's like the king of self-deprecation. Which is not what you want to do in front of the jury. But, on the bright side, at least we don't have to hear Ava Pearl's final speech. I was so worried about that because I know it was gonna be like, she's gonna. What strategy was she? She would have been like, she'd probably just been like, I'm vibing. And that would. Oh my god, it'd been like Jada Marie levels probably. But I don't know. Oh my god, it's just gonna be so good. Regardless what happens, we're in for a wild finale night. This is probably gonna be the most exciting finale night we've had in a long time. Because even if, the expected happens of Morgan winning the final part of the HOH competition, she's gonna cut Vince for Ashley. And what if Ashley runs her over with that speech? She had a really good bar. I don't know if I want to say it because if she's just in case. Maybe I won't say it. I'll wait. You know what? I'll wait for my finale video, just in case, because it's a really good line for her in her speech if she's against Vince. I'm gonna wait because it was really good. Look it up. Go if you want to see it. Go watch her rehearsing her speech. There's clips online. I saw it on Blue Sky earlier today, and yesterday actually. So good. Okay. Okay, I think that's all I kind of want to say. I didn't really want this wasn't going to be a very long video. I didn't want to do the full frame by frame, episode by episode, beat by beat recap this time. I just kind of wanted to just talk real quick and kind of get out my thoughts before the finale about this final 3. Like I said, this is going to be so wild. This is going to be a crazy finale. It's been a long time since we've had like a really wild finale like this, where any 3 of these people could win. There's no the clear front runner and like the 2 people who like maybe could cut the person, but they're not gonna. So I'm really, really excited. I think we're getting for a good time. And we also, I forgot to mention, we have our jury roundtable tonight as well. Apparently, they are now, instead of having just one person hosting it continuously, like how we used to have Dr. Will always hosting it. Last year we had Taylor Hale. This year they revealed that it's actually a rotating position. So this year our roundtable host is Cody Calafiore, which wouldn't have been my pick personally for roundtable host. But okay, I get it. He's played twice. He won All-Stars. I get it. Okay. I wonder if they're going to do I'm assuming they're probably going to just stick to the winners for the roundtable. So I think we could have some interesting roundtables in the future. I would like to see Chelsea host one. I think Chelsea could have done this one. I think that would be really good. But that'd be fun for the future. Depending on who the host is. Some people, there's some people that they're not going to bring back. No offense. But everybody brings something different, so it's going to be interesting how this works. Though, no offense to Cody. If I was sitting at the jury round table waiting for Taylor Hill to walk in and Cody walks in, I'd be a little bummed. I'm so sorry, Cody. It's Taylor Hill. But yeah, we're in for a wild finale, right? I can't believe the season's over already, pretty much. But I'll get into that more tomorrow with my video for the finale. Yeah, that's all I had to say. Like I said, it was just gonna be a light little touch on week 10 and 11, just kind of go over the evictions. Overall, this is a crazy final 3. This is gonna be a crazy night, and I'm really excited. Yep, I will be back tomorrow to cover the finale, all of the craziness that I'm sure we're gonna get. And coming up this week as well, we're gonna have our coverage for the premieres of The Amazing Race and Survivor, which I know. We're like, girl, it's already been a while. I know it's been, oh my god, camera? Hello? Why did it do that? Okay, thank you. So yeah, I'm going to be doing, oh my goodness, I'm just had a moment. Survivor and the Amazing Race premiere as well. Before Wednesday. I promise. And now that Big Brother's over, I'll definitely have more time. I would have done them a lot earlier this week, but again, with all the Big Brother stuff happening, usually the end game is slow, but these people are crazy, and it was not. So there's been a lot happening. So no time to rest. But now, once the season's over, we're gonna be able to do the Amazing Race full coverage for this season, Survivor 49 coverage, and Guts and Glory, which I keep saying, oh yeah, I'm excited to do it in October instead of September. Turns out, unbeknownst to me, it was originally supposed to premiere September 9th. Turns out it got pushed to October 14th. So I thought, I'm behind, but we'll just do it whenever. Shocker, it's not even out yet. So we'll be doing that once that starts in October, that middle October. But yeah, so I'm gonna make a little post probably tomorrow outlining the schedule coming up, how I'm gonna set things up. But I'm gonna try to keep Survivor consistent, The Amazing Race a consistent day as we go out through the fall post BB. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for now. I'll see you tomorrow to talk about the finale. This is gonna be so much fun. Alright guys, I'll see you then. Bye.